Welcome to Dusseldorf. We are on the stand of Skipper ribs. Now, Skipper ribs have been in business for a long time and produced a huge range of ribs and produced a lot of boats over the years. They are renowned for their seakeeping and build quality. Now, they've decided to branch out into another area or another category of boats and created the brand Zyara. So the boat we're here to show you today is the Zyara 44, which is quite stunningly finished in this blue. But what I do want to show you before we go aboard and actually show you the interior of the boat is have a quick look at the outside and a few features. Now, the engines we'll show you when we get up there because get a better view, but I just wanted to go down the boat and have a look at these steps because we've got not one, not two, not three, but four. And the first one actually starts very close to the bow, so it's introducing all those air bubbles at a very early stage and means really the whole hull is riding on that blanket of air. And that means that the performance is really good. It also means that the economy is really good. So let's just go forward and have an overall look at the boat and get a feel of what she looks like, because she is quite stunning. Got an anchor hidden up in there and just beautiful lines. A lot of the boat is carbon fibre to save weight. She weighs 12 tons and believe it or not will do 70 knots with these engines, and if you go for the racing engines she'll actually do 80. So certainly no slouch. But let's jump aboard and see what she's like inside. So the first thing we are greeted by are these three 600 horsepower V12 Mercury outboards. Now these are the engines where only the lower part swivels. It means that the whole engine doesn't turn, so you can have them very close together like you are there, which means the installation allows for three engines. Now this is hull number one. There's a few improvements or modifications still to be done, and one of those is to fill in this area here, which will obviously increase the deck space there. As we come onto the boat, the first thing you spot obviously these fold down balconies, which increase the floor area quite dramatically and make it a really easy place to have many people and obviously move around. Now the first nice feature that we come to are these little lockers here, and if I just lift that up, what you've got is your cleat, your mooring cleat, and the line comes through that eye there, that fair lead, and ties off here, but means it's not cluttering up the deck. So the deck is totally free of anything that you might stub your toe on. Now we've got a huge sun pad here, and I'll just quickly talk about this seat back because it does, as you can probably see, flip back and forward, so you can have a much larger sun pad if you want, but also it lifts up and provides a huge storage area for any toys, fenders, lines, whatever you need to store. So that's a very handy space and in the right position as well. As we come forward, we have this fabulous seating area. Very cool styling on this. I love this sort of chunky box sections. And you've got seating for 8 there, very clearly divided. And as I say, this flips forward if you want to, but flips back when you're in dining mode. Now the table is very clever because the table retracts into the floor, into that slot down there, and this becomes part of the deck. Now you don't want obviously people walking on the area that you're preparing food or eating food from, so it unfolds of course, and this is the part that you would be using for food, not the bit you've been walking on. So the forward seat has the same flip backs, so you can actually have seating, so if you're underway you can be sitting facing forward, and if you perhaps were going to put your children there, you can actually have a camera mounted up here so you can keep an eye on your children while you're underway. But the next thing I want to show you is this section of floor. which I'm pressing this button here, lifts right up, and I will show you down here. So if you go for outboards, which the majority of options are, but you can have inboards, this will become the engine room. But if it's not the engine room, it is a vast, vast storage area. It's almost another cabin, really. But you've got down here all your electrical installation, all your chargers, all your batteries, all your wiring. And the quality of the finish is quite impressive. All those stringers, all beautifully finished. No rough fiberglass there. So very nicely done. And I'll just pop that down again. Big old rams on there, because that's quite a big platform. So as we go forward, let's have a quick look at this hardtop. Now this hardtop is all carbon fibre, and there's a long overhang beyond those supports. So being carbon fibre, it means that the weight is minimised, so it can actually cope with that overhang. So immediately in front of the seats we've got our wet bar, and I'll just lift the lid on that. And here we've got a very cool sink. Very cool. We've got a hob there, we've got cup holders everywhere, and this is a great feature. Just watch this. A pop-up coffee machine. Very, very cool. Underneath here we've got a big fridge there, we've got another big fridge there, and we've got an ice maker in there. But as if that wasn't enough, under here we have two more chiller drawers, which is that one and that one, and then this one can just be storage or a bin or whatever you need there. So very well kitted out wet bar. Let's go forward. Look at these cleats. How cool are they? Now this boat has a JL audio sound system, which is very impressive. Now let's have a look at the seating here, because the seating is very cool. And I'm just going to fold one of these down. So the seating is actually made by the company, by the builder, and is patented. So if you're standing, you've got this as a brilliant backrest, and if you're seated, then you've got a very cosseting, and you're very well held in position there. Looking at the helm itself, we've got all our controls to hand. We've got joystick, our throttles obviously, bow thruster, anchor. We've got a wireless phone charger there, and all the systems are controlled from these screens. They obviously do the standard nav stuff as well, but they all control all the systems. Just quickly look at this screen. One piece of glass. On future boats it's going to be graduated with black down to about here, but it's a beautiful piece of glass. Weighs 150 kilos, that piece of glass. And as we move forward, again carbon fibre everywhere. We have these beautiful handrails which have LEDs underneath, so at night this boat would look very cool. A step up here, and I'm just going to quickly look back at that screen, because it is beautifully arched. Now the seating, they wanted to do something a little bit different. So they didn't want to go for a standard sun pad, so they've gone for these very cool sort of reclining seats, I suppose. They are very fixed down, because at 70 or 80 miles an hour things blow away quite easily, but you do have access to the hatch underneath there. And on the bow we've got more seating, and then I'll just show you in the anchor locker here, because we have this retracting anchor system. So the anchor is hidden with a very nice system, and again all the fiberglass is beautifully finished in there. Again we've got those fab pop-up cleats. So it really is very cool. The hull is finished in this all grip metallic paint, as is the carbon hardtop. Look at the size of those speakers. That's my hand. Okay, let's have a look down below. So this is boat number 1. They're not totally sure that this is how it will be finished inside, but ultimately there's lots of materials to go at, but it's certainly a nice bright space. So this is your main berth, big double. There's storage up there. It's funny because it's minimalist, but it doesn't look basic minimalist. It looks very stylish minimalist, if that makes sense. So we've got some storage in here. Just pop that open so you can see. Hanging rail in there. And then you've got this sofa that comes right the way back. And they've got lots of ideas of how this is going to be improved or upgraded, I guess, inside. But you've got your steps down here, but under the steps, going back under the cockpit, you've got, they're not quite doubles, but they're 2 good size single berths. Now, it is restricted headroom, obviously, but it's not bad at all. I'm just going to now go into the heads, because the heads, I think, are fab. So you've got a loo down there, got this slate effect tops in here and in the shower, very cool sink, mirror under there, you've got a port for light and ventilation, and then you've got this great size shower, and this has amazing headroom. So I'm 6'2", there's another best part of a foot there, and here you've got a rainfall shower, you've got a hand shower as well, and again you've got this slate finish, which I think is lovely. There we go. So I'm just going to finish up back here because it's a very cool place to be. So engine options, there are a whole raft of engine options. You can have 2 Mercury 600s, 3 Mercury 600s, you can have 4 400s, 4 V10 R400s and 4 racing 500s. The 500s will give it 80 miles an hour, which is quite stunning. And apparently the seakeeping is so good that you can actually do the higher speeds through the rough weather. In terms of inboard engines, they're going to put potentially 2 Volvos in there, 440s each, and you can even have a surface drive option if you want something quite extreme and dramatic. Price of the boat is between 1.2 and 1.3 million euros, that's ex-VAT, but it really is a stunning, stunning boat, and I would urge you to have a look a bit further if you're in the market for something like this. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do remember to subscribe, just hit the button down there, and also hit that alarm bell, and we can let you know when we have any future videos coming up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.